What's up, members of the Zophic tribe? Coming at you again with another video on Survivor. Today we're going to be doing a video for the last episode of Winners of War that just came out. Going to kind of be a review video. I'm basically going to be talking about the episode and what happens in it and giving my opinions on it and just giving my opinions about the season so far as a whole, since this is my first video on the season. So let's get right into it. This episode starts off with the tribe coming into the family visit. Now, as you guys probably know, this is probably one of the biggest talking points of this episode, is that this family visit is the longest family visit in Survivor history. It's over 25 minutes long, I'm pretty sure. So now, don't get me wrong, the family visit was definitely too long, but it also delivered. They got to bring out their entire families. We got to see kids and babies on Survivor. And I feel like being able to see the players' families just connects us with the players in a ways that we didn't get to connect with these players before. And I think that's pretty important when it comes to, being winners, and some of these people are legends of the show. I mean, we got to see Tony Vlachos cry in pure happiness. This man cried like a baby when he saw his family. However, the most touching moment for me, or the two most touching moments for me during these family visits, one was Ben's. And it's just because of when Jeff mentioned how he said last time during the family visit that his wife saved his life. Saved his life. Like, for me, that really, put a tear to my eye. He said it was the reason that he's here on this earth. Now, I don't know, maybe I'm weird, but to me that was the most touching moment. But I will admit that once they did the family visit on Edge of Extinction as well, which, I agree with it. I do think they should have done a family visit for the Edge of Extinction people, but I don't think they should have showed it. Maybe they could have put it up on the website, but I don't like it being in the actual episode. I did like when Adam was talking to his dad about his mom. That got to me. And yeah, there was no loved ones challenge, which I agree with. If you're going to bring kids out there, you kind of want everyone to be able to get to see their kids, because that could affect the kids in a negative way. Like, they won't be able to understand why they're not able to, they came all the way here and now they see their dad or whatever, and they can't even hug him or anything. And production took it pretty far too. They even had a fake challenge set up. It was the ball rolling challenge, or the ball spinning in the circle challenge. And yeah, they head back to camp. Everyone's having a good time. Sarah's son is playing with the enemy. Tyson's daughter's wearing his buff and making some sand soup. It's gonna be delicious. When it's all said and done, we head to the immunity challenge, and it's the one where they have to pull on that rope, and there's this wobbly table where they have to stack these blocks and spell the word immunity on the table without making the blocks fall over. Now, as Jeff mentions, this challenge can either go really long or be really short, because the amount of time it takes to do this, you can do it really fast. It's just, if you go fast, it's really risky, and you can end up messing up, and then the next person's in the lead, and then that person messes up, and then the next person's in the lead, and it can just be an endless loop like that. So it really does benefit you to take your time, and you should really only go fast if there's someone already about to win the game. So the challenge starts, and I'm pretty sure Tyson, Tony, and Nick are off to an early lead, and we get this really underrated moment no one's talking about where Kim says, "Good job, Nick." And you know how last episode where they were on the pyramids and everyone was saying good job in a line, and Kim didn't say good job to Nick? Well, finally Kim got his good job, or Nick got his good job from Kim. Jeff also makes this comment about how the loved one visit really did kick this game into another gear. And I don't know if that's true, but I really do think that's a big hope for the production and Survivor itself, that when they had that big loved ones visit, that would really increase the level of the game, because the love from their families would just push them to try even harder, I guess. The challenge ends up being back and forth for a while, but we all know how this goes. Tony wins his first immunity challenge, and it's a game about patience and going slow. Is this real life? Another thing that should be pointed out is he's actually getting 2 fire tokens for winning this challenge instead of 1, so who knows why they're doing that, but my guess is that they're just trying to get people to use their fire tokens because they haven't played that big of a role in the season so far. Gotta head back to camp and listen to some more crappy music playing in the background, and here's where all hell breaks loose. As usual, Jeremy is trying to get Tony to split up Sarah and Sophie, and it's obvious that Tony doesn't want to do that. I guess Jeremy either doesn't know how tight Sarah and Tony are, or he assumes him and Tony are tighter than they actually are. And Tony appears to play it off decently well, saying that Ben wouldn't want to go along with it. However, Jeremy walks away feeling like he has no voice in the situation. We then cut to Sarah and Tony bickering about who to vote off. Sarah wants Kim because she thinks that she's in with everyone, and Tony obviously doesn't seem to think that, as he tells her no she's not, and he thinks Tyson's the bigger threat. But the way they are both talking to each other is just hilarious. Like, they just can't seem to agree, and you can tell they're trying so hard to make it work. And it ends with Tony seemingly agreeing to go with Kim, though I'm not very convinced that he truly means that. And also an important side note is that Sarah says that it's going to end badly for them if they're not able to straighten it out. In the next scene, we see Tony, Nick, Ben, and Jeremy all sitting down together, and Kim walks over and Jeremy kind of whispers and tells her, let's go talk. Which on Jeremy's side, I don't think that was the best move, simply because I think he could have picked a better time to go talk with Kim, not in front of everybody. And so, correctly, Tony actually gets suspicious about this, and so he's talking about how suspicious Jeremy is, and he actually tells Nick and Ben, yo, you guys down with blindsiding Jeremy? And they both say, yeah. Of course Nick's gonna be alright with it. Y'all have been targeting him for like the whole season. We get to hear Jeremy and Kim's conversation, and they talk about how the two of them plus Tyson need to stick together. So they call Tyson over, and one of my favorite parts of the episode comes when Kim is like, look guys, none of us have any friends, and I'm sure both of y'all know that. I'm with you guys to the end. Let's pull in Michelle and Denise, and I have an idol. Let's go ahead and vote for Sophie. I think Kim handles the situation perfectly. I mean, you can just see it on Tyson's face. He looks so excited. Like, he literally, like, hits Jeremy, like, playfully, like, yo, dude, we got this. Good to see Sarah figure out that the guys were targeting Jeremy. And at first, she seems to be pissed off. But then when Tony immediately tells her, like, no, it's because he was coming after you, she's completely cool with it. So we do end up getting a good conversation between Tony and Sarah where they both seem to handle the situation perfectly. Then we get a few scenes of people talking about their advantages, you know, Jeremy's walkout advantage and Sarah's steal a vote. And so that's basically just foreshadowing for what's coming up in Tribal. Let's just get to the meat and potatoes, the Tribal Council. Whispering immediately starts, so it's time for the viewers not to know what's going on because we can't hear anything. And interestingly enough, there is a moment where it looks like Sarah is actually trying to call Michelle over to whisper to her, even though Michelle's supposed to be on the other side of the alliance. Another interesting moment like this, you see Tyson whispering to Tony and to Ben, so I'm kind of confused what they're whispering about. Like, is Tyson trying to see who the other team's targeting? Like, I don't really get it. It would be nice to be able to hear those kind of things. And you get the legendary moment where both Sarah and Jeremy both say Jeff's name at the same time, but then neither one of them want to actually play their advantage because they want to see what the other person has first. Eventually, though, when Sarah's kind of folding and deciding she's not going to do it anymore, Jeremy has to do it because he knows, like, he's in trouble. You know, he correctly reads. He has to use his get out of jail free card. So he eventually goes up there and puts it in there. And before anyone knows what it is, Tony's actually worried that it might be an immunity necklace nullifier, which is hilarious and just speaks to the level of paranoia that Tony has at all times. So it's made apparent that Jeremy was the target because scrambling starts to happen, whispering starts up again. We see multiple moments again where there's cross-alliance whispering. I think we see Michelle whispering to Ben. We see Ben whispering to Tyson. There definitely are moments for people to know, well, potentially for people to know what the other seemingly other alliance is actually planning to do, target-wise. Well, that is until Sophie gets up and says, yo, why don't the five of us just take our alliance and move it somewhere else? And so they, like, walk off set, and so we get Kim trying to figure out who they're going to vote for so she knows who to play her idol for. The other alliance, they figure out who they're going for. So we come in, we're about to vote, and then Jeff's like, wait, Sarah's like, Jeff, wait, I got to play my one last advantage. And so she plays her steal a vote, and she steals Denise's vote. So now Denise doesn't have a vote, and Sarah gets two. So everyone goes to vote. Before Jeff's even completely back with the urn, we already see Kim pulling out her bag. She's like, she puts up the peace sign, yo, Jeff, I got something. We hear Yul go, wow. So we got Kim walking up there with her idol. She turns around and she's looking at everyone's poker face, trying to figure out who they vote for. I like doing that. That's really smart to do. And we get Ben with this freaking mouth wide open, hamming it up for the camera. He hammed it up for the camera this entire tribal council with that stupid smile on his face, man. He's the new Adam. He's been getting more confessionals now, too, I feel like. Kim plays her idol for Denise. The votes get read. We get 2 votes for Denise, 2 votes for Sophie, and then 4 votes are read for Tyson. The 5th vote was probably also for Tyson. Tyson goes home for the 2nd time, and he is very mad. He flips off the camera at one point. You know, I really don't think Tyson did much wrong other than pick the wrong side to align with. The side that was down in the numbers, the side that had Jeremy dip on them, the side that had Denise get her vote stolen, which I do think people might actually be mad about Jeremy dipping on them next episode. We did even hear Wendell talk about how, he dipped on his squad. So one thing that a lot of people were confused on is why they didn't do a 3-3-3 split, assuming that Michelle was going to vote with the other side, which actually Michelle ends up voting for Tyson as well. So there ended up only being 2 votes for Sophie instead of 3. So doing the 3-3-3 tie wasn't even possible. But you would assume that they wouldn't know that Michelle was going to turn on them. So the 3-3-3 made the most sense. But, I mean, maybe they did know that Michelle was going to do that. I mean, like I said, we see a lot of Michelle whispering to people from the other alliance. That being said, though, if they did know that Michelle was with them, they should have done a 4-3-2 and had 3 votes on Denise instead of 2-2. Because if she did play the idol on Tyson, Denise would have still went home, but there would have been a pointless revote, right? I mean, I'm not wrong about that, right? So either way, what they did didn't make complete sense, but, it didn't really make a big deal at the end of the day, because Kim did play her idol on the wrong person. I do think she maybe should have played it on Tyson more, because, she should have known that no matter which one she played it on, the other one was going to go home, so she should have just been thinking about it like this. Who do I like more? Who's a better ally to me? Tyson or Denise? That's the person I'm going to play the idol on. So if she was thinking about it like that, then, I mean, maybe she does value Denise more, but I just kind of got the sense that she actually values Tyson more, so I do think maybe Kim actually played her idol incorrectly. It could also just be said, though, that Kim should have just kept the idol since she knew the votes weren't coming at her, which that probably makes even more sense if we're being honest. That's pretty much the end of the review, but I do want to give out an MVP reward, and my MVP for this episode is, drumroll please. Okay, it's gotta be Tony. Tony won his first immunity, and back to when he was talking with Sarah, we know that Tyson was actually the person he wanted to go home in the first place, so he also ended up getting out who he wanted to get out, which is great. Yeah, he had that argument with Sarah, but that wasn't really a big deal, and he does make it up to her when he's talking to her about how Jeremy's coming for her, so other than that, I really think everything we saw about Tony this episode was good. Being said, though, I do want to say who I'm thinking is going to get voted out next, and I'm actually, I really don't have a good guess, but I'm going to go with Tony, because he's going to be up to his old antics, and we all know his old antics are going to go one of 2 ways. It's either going to get him voted out real quickly like in Game Changers, so maybe not next episode, but soon afterwards, or it might just get him really far or even give him another win, which would just be amazing. Now, finally, that's going to be the end of the video, guys. If you liked it, please, like the video. If you want more content like this, please subscribe, and if you have anything to say, don't be afraid to leave it down in the comments section below.